All right, speaking of indefensible, I guess this is semi-defensible, but I hate it. The Madden rating. Go ahead.
I don't know about indefensible, but the 99 Club came out for Madden 26.
Yeah.
Your guy Mahomes was snubbed. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson are the two. They both have 99 ratings.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? Is this legit? I think it's pretty fair. I think that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are much more Madden type quarterbacks than Patrick Mahomes is. Like, Patrick Mahomes is more of an improviser. Lamar Jackson's obviously like super fast, and Josh Allen's like a freak athlete. He's huge, running through dudes. So it's like, as far as games, like if you want to play Madden, like you're thinking like you would rather play with Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen.
Okay, so that's a really interesting way to look at it. And if that's the argument, that so be it. Listen, Mahomes coming into this year in the 6 Maddens post his first year as a starter, he was a 99 4 times. He was the highest rated quarterback 5 times. The one time he wasn't, he was the 3rd highest rated quarterback behind Brady and Rodgers, and that was after the AFC Championship game loss to Cincinnati, and he responded by having more yards than any player in the history of the league, winning the Super Bowl MVP, winning the regular season MVP, and having arguably the greatest quarterback season anyone's ever had. So I'm not even mad at Madden. Maybe they motivated him. I want to use this as an opportunity. And listen, Josh just won regular season MVP, had, for a team that a lot of people thought was not going to be good. Some people who had always been called a Bills hater for just being right about the Bills, then last year thought the Bills could be really good, and that person was me. But that it was because of Josh Allen. So it's fine. And Lamar has had basically back-to-back perfect regular seasons. So you want to give him a 99 rating, it's fine. I actually want to use this time here to talk a little bit about Lamar and the Ravens, because I was on Mina's podcast and she was agog that I was skeptical of the Ravens. And Mina, said Lamar didn't play poorly in the playoff game, which I find unbelievable, and said that basically she thought I was being unfair to Lamar or the Ravens by not, I guess, chalking up the same exact thing happening every single year to just dumb luck. And said, oh, I didn't know you were a Ravens hater. And this is where, as I said with her, I will break kayfabe for a moment. I adore Mina Kimes. I know I call her my rival that I want to vanquish. I think she's outstanding. It's the only reason I went on a podcast with her at 7:00 New York City time on the night before I was going to the Bahamas for a few days. And I think she does great work. But there are 2 major points I want to make here. The first one is this. At what point does someone stop being a hater if they are constantly one of the only people proven correct? I'm just curious for the media and internet at large. At what point does hating transition to accurate skepticism? Or is the answer never? Is the answer nope? If the whole world acknowledges this guy is just, close to a perfect player who's had a couple perfect regular seasons, who's just bad timing for these awful moments, and now 2023 for Lamar, it was an awful game. 2024, it was not an awful game. It was a couple really awful moments that ruined an otherwise really good game by him. But because I didn't think Lamar was terrible in the divisional round game against Buffalo. What I did think was a guy who was historically good all year about protecting the football, having 2 turnovers in the first 20 minutes of that game, made it to where the best grade he could get for the game's like a C+. And especially because they end up losing. And so the question I truly have, and the question I truly have for the audience is that hating? And I'll use the Bills thing as an example. Every single year, people called me a Bills hater. Now, I was a Bills troll to a degree, and I said drop the banner, and I poked fun, and I did all that stuff. But I was also right every single time. And then this past year, when I thought the pendulum had swung too far in the other direction, and I said, I actually think the Bills are going to be excellent. I think they're once again the biggest threat to the Chiefs. And that's the opposite of hating, and it was just correct, right? So then and yes, guys, when I say Mahomes had the most yards in a single season ever, it's exactly what I'm saying it is. It's total yards for the full season, everything all put together. The most yards any player's ever accounted for was 2022 Patrick Mahomes. So the Lamar stuff to me is interesting because it's not only that I don't think I'm a hater, but I think a lot of other really smart people who cover this league are in willful denial because they like him and because they want it to be different than it is, and because, and this part I really empathize with, because they detest so many of his original actual haters. The people who said he should change positions coming in the league or he'd never be any good or any of that stuff. And so all of that has created this very odd world where folks patronize him a bit in a way they discuss what is the only hole on his resume, but it's the hole that matters the most, which is in that league for that position, how you play in the postseason. And so this is the question that I would just have to everyone. Folks on Ravens Twitter who are mad at me because they think the team is absolutely stacked and I have questions about its receiver position, and folks in the media that think I'm unfair in my skepticism, because one of the other things that happened when I was talking, again, I think Mina's outstanding. With Mina was Stafford came up, and I talked about how if I were, like, I kind of impromptu was talking about how he might be my third pick of any quarterback in the league to have in the postseason. That would go Mahomes, Allen, Stafford. And she seemed legitimately aghast that I was not including Lamar in the math for that. And I was legitimately aghast that she possibly could include Lamar in the math for that specific question. You can have any quarterback for a playoff run. Like, well, I'm not going to pick the guy who's literally never, like, shown us that he can do that. That would seem silly to me. You might be like, well, Josh hasn't shown it. Josh has had plenty of playoff runs where he's played excellent throughout. The team wasn't good enough. We're going to see that from Lamar. But that's fine. This is kind of old hat. We've talked about this each of the last few years because each of the last few years, it has gone exactly like this. Unbelievable regular season that I look at with a quizzical eye because I want to see how it works in the postseason. Then Lamar has one of, if not his downright worst game in the postseason. And then everybody has this moment of clarity for about 3 days where after the year, people are like, damn, Nick was right without saying Nick was right. And then come this time of year, it's like, no, this year will be different. So this is my question. Because Ravens Twitter thinks the team is absolutely loaded. So obviously, like, there shouldn't be any excuses there. But my question in the media is this. If it were to happen again, same beats as the last couple years, is Lamar going to win MVP? He is the MVP. He's top 2 MVP, all of it. And then once again, the Ravens don't play to their seed or don't play to their talent or, and it's because of massive quarterback mistakes early in a playoff game that puts them in a hole that they can't quite dig themselves out of. Will this year then be enough? Is it like, well, before the sample was too small? Or will it still just be, randomness? Dumb luck of the playoffs. I find it really fascinating because it is absolutely true that the only thing standing between Lamar and being in the discussion, Demonze, as one of the 6 or 7 greatest quarterbacks of all time is one great playoff run. That's all that's standing between. It's just one because the regular season stuff is so unbelievable. But the only thing standing between him and being in a very unique class of all-time athletes in a not great sense is deja vu all over again one more time. And it makes this year one of the most fascinating. It makes the Ravens and Lamar one of the most fascinating stories of the season. And it also, I'm really excited to watch it. And I am really excited to see how people react, myself included, to how this full season plays out. And so, like, it's back-to-back years. It's all been right there. All been, and that's one other thing I want to say. Because one of the things Mina pointed out was DVOA has, over the last quarter century, Demonze, the 2 best teams, the 2 best 5-year stretches by any team to not make a Super Bowl are the last 5 years of the Buffalo Bills and the last 5 years of the Baltimore Ravens. And the point there that Mina made was, basically that's an Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes stat. And it's that these 2 teams were good enough to be all-time greats. They were just blocked by one of the greatest, if not the greatest duo in NFL history. And I push back on that too. Because I think the Bills being on that list is a Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes stat. Because the Bills have lost to the Chiefs 5 times in this stretch. Or I'm sorry, 4 times. I don't know that I feel the Ravens being on that list is a Chiefs stat. Because only one of those years have the Chiefs been the team to block the Ravens. They haven't gotten to that level yet. So we'll see. And listen, you believe in the Ravens this year. Brew believes in the Ravens.
NFL's wide open this year. 100%. NFL is wide open this year. See what he does.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I have a feeling it will be like every year. Unbelievable in the regular season. They lose a couple games they probably shouldn't lose that are a little odd, but it is jaw-dropping. And then come the playoffs, we're going to be like, wow, this team sure looks different. Wonder why.
I doubt it.
And then, but listen, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong.